What's up guys, welcome to another tutorial on SAPP coding, and today we'll be covering inheritances. So, what are inheritances? To understand this, we need to know what object-oriented programming is, and object-oriented programming is commonly referred to as OOP. So, first let's take a look at what that is, and then we'll get back to inheritances. Alright, so what is object-oriented programming? Basically, this is a programming methodology which uses objects in programming instead of functions, and the objects act like an instance, and an instance defines objects. So, and instances are merely used to store its state as a variable or etc. And also, object-oriented programming also shows the difference between a compiling language and a scripting language. Compiling languages include like Java, Python, C++, and an example of a scripting language is JavaScript. And then there are four principles in object-oriented programming. There's abstraction, encapsulation, inheritance, and polymorphism. These might sound like really complex things, but they're actually not that hard and kind of simple. So in this video, we will cover inheritances, and the other three principles will be covered in the next episodes of this Java course. Alright, so let's ask again, what are inheritances? Inheritances are basically like parent and child classes. The child class inherits all methods and fields of the parent class, while you can add your own unique feature. So let's give an example. Pretend you're acting as a child. Your parents pass you genes, but the genes don't make up you. They only make up some part of you. And this means they will allow you to inherit all of their traits, but that's not all of you yet. So you still need to add your own unique feature. And this is what the inheritance does. It takes parent class traits into yours, and you can also even add your own feature. So how does this have to do anything with Java? This is actually really useful in Java because it allows us to reuse the same logic in another class. So there's actually several types of inheritances. A single inheritance is a straightforward relationship when a child class extends to a parent class. A multi-level inheritance is when a child class extends to another child class, and that child class extends to a parent class. So it's a three-way thing. And then the next inheritance is when more than one child class extends to a parent class. So it can be like two child classes that extend to the same parent class. And then a multiple inheritance is when there's one child class, but it extends to two parent classes. So it's the opposite of a hierarchical inheritance. And then a hybrid inheritance is a combination of single and hierarchical inheritances, and it almost acts as a cycle, like the water cycle and stuff. It comes in full form, so it starts where it stopped. Okay, when to use inheritances. Inheritances are merely used for like one thing, that's to reuse code, and you reuse code because you want to reuse the logic in it. And the logic includes methods and functions, and you want to reuse the existing class when creating new classes that need the same methods and functions. And how to use inherit in Java. So the key word for inherit is extends. The subclass is known as the child, and the superclass is known as the parent. So for example, the superclass would be a flight, and a subclass would be a jet. Another subclass could be a plane, and etc. Another subclass could be a rocket, and it could keep on going. The Java syntax for this would be class jet extends flight. So a subclass will extend the superclass, and that's how you write it. And this is basically saying that the jet should inherit all properties of the flight class, but it can also add its own. So now let's see an example of inheritance. This is our Java IDE, and now let's see how inheritances work. So this, lines 3 to 7, when we have our employee class, this will be our parent class in this example. And our child class, or the class that it's extended to, will be the architect class. So in this first class, we have two variables in it, and then it's int salary and int hours. And in this class, it's employee. So then we have a child class called architect, and that's a type of employee, kind of. So this would be the child class of employee. And we wrote it as class architect extends employee. So this receives all the traits that are in the employee class. And then remember that we can add one unique feature. In this, we're going to add a bonus for if you're an architect, and this would equal 12,000. So we're adding all the traits in employee plus a bonus. Now we have our main, and here we're creating an instance or an object of the parent class. And this is an architect because that's our child class. And this is basically how an instance works. And this is an object derived in the class. So then we're printing out the architect salary, architect work hours, and the bonus of architect. So basically, all this is letting us do is basically reusing the code in employee to architect without rewriting it, but it's inheriting all their features. This is basically an example of inheritances, and this is one part of object-oriented programming. There's also 3 more parts which we will be covering in this Java tutorial. So please stay tuned and like and subscribe. Thank you.